Headed down the shore? Skip the hassle. Let Beach Caddy handle the heavy lifting. Bellhop and Beach Cart rentals are available in Ocean City, Sea Isle, Avalon, Stone Harbor, and Wildwood. Use the promo code Jimbo for 10% off bellhop and cart rentals. Beach Caddy takes the stress out of your Jersey Shore trip. Go to beachcaddy.app. Use the promo code Jimbo for 10% off your move-in, move-out bellhop service and beach cart rentals. Best beach carts at the Jersey Shore. What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly sports history for December 15th, 2025. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Victory Monday edition of the podcast. First time in 3 weeks we're able to have a Victory edition. Still thawing out from yesterday, but what a game. And I will preface everything I'm going to say with this. Yes, I know it was the Las Vegas Raiders. However, lots of positives in that game. And to me, the Eagles came out and did exactly what they should have done. They did exactly what a championship team should have done to that team. They're terrible. 100% terrible. However, 31-0. Complete and utter dismantling, domination, whatever you want to say. The quarterback, Jalen Hurts, that was the complete 180 from the game on Monday night. The fact that he was efficient, he was throwing the ball well, making smart decisions, he was actually running the ball, and it shows. You saw how good the offense looked when Jalen is a threat to run. Defensively, that is best performance of the season. And again, I know it was the Raiders. However, when you pitch a shutout in the NFL, it's not easy to do. It's the first time since 2018 the Eagles have had a shutout. They gave up 75 total yards. 75 total yards in that game. 4 sacks. Brandon Graham turned back the hands of time with 2. Could have been 3. They had a turnover. It just exactly what they wanted to do. AJ Brown got into the action. Saquon, they were running the ball off tackle and it was working. I saw some things from Kevin Patula that we haven't seen all season. There were more pitches to the outside. It looked like the routes that the receivers were running were slightly different. So whether it's 100% on Patula, whether Nick Sirianni was involved in it, whether Jalen Hurts had a say in it, the receivers, whoever, that was by far their best performance on both sides of the ball. They put together a full game for the first time all season. Took till week 15, but that was a complete game. And it was a get-right game. It was a statement game. It showed what they could do. And all season, we've heard they're one block away. The players aren't executing. They made those blocks yesterday. They executed to the best that I've seen them all season. And this is when you want to start playing that way. So it is encouraging. Take it with a grain of salt. It was the Raiders, but they came out of it healthy. Domination on defense. Offensively, they looked crisp and in the flow. But I can't say enough about the defense. 75 yards to an NFL team. Like, that is pretty damn impressive because they have some weapons. Ashton Jeanty is a good player. But to just dominate a team like that when you need it to win, and hopefully this silences the Jalen Hurts hate. We can put to bed the bench Jalen Hurts crowd. We were fooling around, my brother and I, at the game yesterday. If you follow me on social media, you probably saw it. Is that what y'all wanted to see? You saw Tanner McKee in the game yesterday. He went 3 for 3. Just saying, you saw Tanner McKee So those people got their wish too. But overall, they needed that win. They needed to win like that. If they would have struggled with this team, I think we would have had larger issues to talk about. But I think it was good. It's kind of like the cupcake on the schedule to kind of get right and get it going. Hopefully they can build some confidence from this. It's another short week. And the NFL really did screw the Eagles with the schedule this year. So many short weeks. They play Saturday at 5, the good old 5 p.m. Saturday game against Washington. But I will take that 100%. I will dive into it later today, listen to some of the interviews and everything. But that is what you needed to see yesterday. And to their credit, they came through and absolutely did it. Cowboys lose, so the magic number to win the division is 1. Should be a foregone conclusion at this point. It seems like the Eagles are kind of locked into that 3 seed. I think they're like 2 games behind the Bears, 2 games behind the Rams with 4 to play. So as long as we get 1 home playoff game, I'm confident that this team, based on their experience, can go on the road and win. But a good win for our Philadelphia Eagles, silencing the doubters, at least for 1 week. But again, it was the Raiders. Yes, I know that. But that is what you should do. How many times do we see the Eagles play down to their competition over the years? The same way, like, they didn't do that. They went in there. We are the superior team, and they played like it. And that's exactly what we needed to see. All right, so let's get into it like we always do. Who was your GOAT of the game? You could go Jalen on this one. You could go Saquon, Brandon Graham, Quinyon, the defensive line. I'm going with QB1. Who's your GOAT of the game, though? 267-495-8531. Get that. Anything else Philly sports related off of your chest. Let's talk about it, Philadelphia. Let's talk about it. All right, so let's get into what else happened this weekend as we rewind the weekend as we do every Monday. Got a little excited there for Victory Monday, so I skipped over that in the beginning. That is brought to you, as always, by Philly Goat. Go to phillygoat.com. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off of your order. Too late to get delivery by Christmas, but can't decide, buy a gift card. They sell them too. So go to Philly Goat, check out their selection, and use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off of your order. All right, Sixers had a mixed bag of a weekend. Friday night, they played the entire weekend without Tyrese Maxey, who was sick. Friday night, it didn't matter. Talking about turning back the hands of time, Joel Embiid and Paul George led the way. Joe with 39. It was good to see him. And if they can get those types of performances out of him and Paul George, who added 23, when Maxey is either not on the court or unable to play for whatever reason, that's a good thing. VJ Edgecombe was outstanding, 22 points in the first quarter, and they're going to need that. Like, yes, Maxey has played like an elite player this year, but you're going to need Joe to step up at times. You're going to need Paul George. You're going to need VJ. When he comes back, sometimes you're going to need Kelly Oubre. So to see that game on Friday night, it was awesome. Looking at Joe and didn't seem like he was showing any ill effects from that knee. Now, the big question would be, would he play yesterday? And the answer to that is he did. Wasn't as effective, but they lost down in Atlanta, 120-117. Paul George, though, another solid game, had 35. Joe did have 22. VJ with 26. These guys that's what you need. And if that's what you're going to get from this team, again, they're fun. I've been saying it all year. It's actually fun to watch Sixers basketball again. But if that's what you're going to need, the potential is there. The East is down. So if they can just gel and get all of that together, and yes, this is my annual late December Lucy in the football feeling, and I'm in that stage of my Sixers fandom right now. That's okay. I will take it. But I mean, they got to clean some things up defensively. That really cost them yesterday. Couldn't get stops when they needed to, but they're in games. That's all you can ask for. As long as they're not getting blown out and it's entertaining to watch, it'll come as they start building confidence. So mixed bag for the Sixers, winning on Friday night, losing on Sunday. But I think my biggest takeaway is the potential with Joel playing well, Paul George playing well, and VJ Edgecombe playing well in the absence of Tyrese Maxey. Flyers, not a good weekend. They had a home and home against Carolina Panthers. Saturday, they lose 4-3 in a shootout. Trevor Zegras with a goal and an assist. And then yesterday was almost a carbon copy, 3-2 shootout loss. So Carolina is one of the better teams in the East. So good to see them go toe-to-toe with them, take both games to overtime. I do think as this team grows and gains experience, these are games that you at least need to get a split there. But they get a point in each game as the Flyers lose both games, Saturday and Sunday, by a goal in a shootout overtime loss. But they get the point. That's important. The Union making some headlines as they gear up for their offseason to get ready for next MLS season, looking to make some major trades, get some draft equity. It seems to be the MO of this team, and they feel like it's more of the system. They can plug and play guys. So if they can get some guys in there, I think Jacob Glesnes was one that they were looking to trade, Ty Barabo. So those guys were good for the Union this year, but it's the system play. So we'll see what happens as that starts shaking out. No word from the Phillies yet. JT still hasn't signed, but I feel like that news could be coming, I hope, this week, because then the Phillies can then plan accordingly for the rest of their moves. Villanova is moving on to the FCS semifinals, 26-21 against Tarleton State. Came from behind with good defense, 14-0, and then they were down 21-12. I was watching this game from the basketball gym, waiting for my daughter's game to play, and they looked good. They looked good, so we'll see. Tarleton, it was an entertaining game. Tarleton State was driving, had like a 4th and 6 late in the game, threw a touchdown that was caught out of bounds, giving the Villanova Wildcats the win. They return home to the main line on Saturday for the semifinals against Illinois State as they look to clinch a spot in the FCS championship game. Winnable game, I would think, too, having a home game. So we'll see what happens, but good win for the Wildcats. All right, so what happened this weekend in Philly sports history? Let's go back to December 13th. And in 1994, the Sixers beat the Heat 105-90. Willie Burton, the unlikeliest 50-point scorer maybe ever in NBA history, scored 53 points on 12 for 19 shooting, including 5 for 8 from three-point range, 24 for 28 from the free throw line. And to put that into perspective, Willie Burton has a career 10.3 points per game average. So for him to score 53 points in a game, that's pretty impressive. On that day in 2004, Phillies picked up Shane Victorino from the Dodgers in the Rule 5 draft. Shane would be a key piece to that 2007 to 2011 run, including the 2008 World Series championship. And then in 2020, QB1 Jalen Hurts, first career start against the Saints, threw for 167 yards, a touchdown, ran for 106 yards as the Eagles upset the Saints 24-21, and we were all excited. The future was bright, and here we are, how many ever years later, 2 Super Bowl appearances, 1 Super Bowl championship, and an outstanding performance. I'll give him some credit again yesterday against the Raiders. Fast forward to December 14th. On that day in 1980, Eagles beat the Cardinals 17-3, setting up a very unique matchup in the last game of the season against the Cowboys. When the Cowboys lost that week on Monday Night Football to the Rams, it was essentially the Eagles' division to lose. Mathematically, the Cowboys were still in it, but the Eagles needed to go into Dallas and just not lose by 25 points because of the way the tiebreakers were back then. Eagles, of course, did not lose and would go on to win the division, but they set up, put themselves in a good position to win the division on December 14th, 1980, with a 17-3 win over the Cardinals. 1994, regarded as one of the worst free agent signings in Phillies history. They signed Greg Jeffries. And I feel like Greg Jeffries was not as bad for the Sixers the Phillies as we all thought. It's just with the expectations he had, he certainly did not live up to them. And then in 1996, Eagles clinch a playoff spot with a 21-20 win over the Jets. That was the good old Ray Rhodes era. They ended up with the wild card, went out to San Francisco, and lost. But that is Rewind the Weekend, brought to you, as always, by Philly Goat. Kind of I would say, it's a pretty decent weekend in Philly sports this week, especially highlighted by the big 31-0 win over the Las Vegas Raiders. All right, let's do some housekeeping. Follow me on social media at Philly Jimbo on all platforms. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jimbo_Mott. Continue to spread the word. Like, subscribe, review, all that other good stuff as we look to grow this thing. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who donated to our gift and food drive this year. Another successful gift and food drive, partnering with the Maddie Ann Dixon Community Cupboard over in Ambler. We were able to donate $200 worth of Target gift cards, which families will use to help spread some holiday cheer and buy some presents for their kids. And then 146 pounds of food we were able to donate. It's always my favorite time when I go over there. They put everything on the cart. They put it on the scale. And that's how we know. But thank you from the bottom of my heart to everybody who donated. And if you're running the reverse advent calendar with your kids, thank you for just getting your kids involved in that. It's always one of the favorite things each morning for my kids. But thank you again for helping spread some holiday cheer. Already looking forward to next year and the 4th annual food and gift drive. But thank you. I appreciate you. It always amazes me that anybody out there even listens to me. So the fact that not only do you listen, but we had people donating from all over the country. It was great to see. So thank you. And then today, our random act of kindness for December. This one might take a little bit of planning, but there's plenty of websites and different ways to go about this. But a lot of people, the Army-Navy game was this weekend, and a lot of people, they showed the clips from people around the world. Find out where you go. Like I said, there's a ton of websites that you can do this, but send a care package. Have your kids write an encouraging thank you note. Just something for an active service member who won't be home for the holidays. Every little piece of home and connection with us is good. So if you can, it doesn't have to be a care package. Send a note. Just write a letter saying thank you. I appreciate it. Whatever you can do. But that is today's random act of kindness. And then Friday's trivia question. I asked, who are the only teams the Eagles have a losing record against? And that would be the Chicago Bears, Cincinnati Bengals, Cleveland Browns, Dallas Cowboys, Green Bay Packers, San Diego, Los Angeles Chargers, Miami Dolphins, 49ers, Seahawks, Buccaneers, and the Washington Commanders. So thanks for everybody who gave the guesses out there for that, as the Eagles, after yesterday, move one more game above 500 for their franchise history. Whether you're coaching Little League, crushing your fantasy league, or just rolling up to a bachelor party like a Philly legend, Lotwin Custom Hype Chains bring the energy. Fully customizable, totally unforgettable, and guaranteed to turn you into the MVP of the moment. Great for teams, groomsmen, or anyone who wants to show off with some serious swagger. Go to Lotwin.com, use the promo code TCCPOD, and get 10% off your own custom hype chain. Lotwin, let's get hyped together. All right, December 15th. And first, we're going to go back to 1968. And every year I celebrate this day because one of the most infamous days in Philadelphia sports history occurred on this day. Happy We Threw Snowballs at Santa Day. 1 week after blowing the number 1 pick by winning against New Orleans Saints, the Eagles return home to Franklin Field to take on the Minnesota Vikings, lose 24-17, and in the process, lose the way they were supposed to. Didn't get the number 1 pick, but it was their holiday spectacular, I think they called it, where they had a parade. The field was muddy. Everybody was miserable. A young Frank Olivo was wearing a Santa costume, was picked at the last minute to be the Santa that led the parade of the spectacular. The sleigh got stuck. Santa was running around. And, of course, the Philadelphia Eagle fans threw snowballs at Santa, Frank Olivo, And it's the legacy that just keeps on giving. Lazy journalism. People still talk about it to this day. And it's like, oh, yeah, we threw snowballs at Santa. I did see in later interviews, Frank Olivo said, if I was in the crowd, I would have booed me as well. But one of those things didn't get much coverage at the time in the media. However, as the years have passed, the story and everything has grown and morphed, and any chance anybody gets to throw this in Philadelphia's face, they do. But on this day in 1968, Eagles lose to the Vikings 24-17 in the infamous "We Threw Snowball at Santa" day. Have to mention it. It's part of our lore, but come on, man. It was 1968. Get over it. Nobody threw snowballs yesterday. Just throwing that out there. Not that I saw anyway. That does lead to today's trivia question, though. In the 1969 NFL Draft, Eagles ended up with the 3rd overall pick, missing a chance to draft O.J. Simpson. So it's a 2-part trivia question. Who did the Eagles draft number 3 overall in 1968? And what future Hall of Famer was picked 4th that the Eagles passed on, completely altering the franchise, that 1969 draft, and putting everything sort of on hold for the Eagles? All right, fast forward 5 years later to 1973. Temple in Tennessee played the lowest scoring college basketball game ever. This was at a time when there was no shot clock. Tennessee led 7-5 about halfway through the first half. Temple coach Don Casey decided to implement the stall. He held the ball for the final 11 minutes of the first half in an effort to try to get Tennessee to get out of their zone, play man, and open up the Temple shooters. Tennessee wasn't about it, though. They said, hey, you're going to stall. We got the lead. We'll play a zone. Tennessee had no shots in the second half as Don Casey and the Temple Owls continued to implement the stall. Temple did not score in the second half of this game. 4 free throws. That was the extent of the scoring in the second half as Tennessee beat Temple 11-5. Imagine going to that game. The Tennessee crowd was not happy down there, but absolutely insanity. And then fast forward to 1974, and with the Eagles team in Atlanta preparing for their game against the Falcons, rumors were swirling all over as it was leaked that Leonard Toews had a deal in place to move the Eagles to Phoenix. Once word got out, Mayor Wilson Goode met with all the rest of the city leaders and called Toews and said, we cannot have the Eagles leave Philadelphia. Essentially, what happened is they were worked around the clock, and on this day in 1984, it was announced that the Eagles would in fact stay in Philadelphia. Part of the deal was the city would add new luxury boxes to Veterans Stadium to make it a little bit more lucrative for Toews and the Eagles. But Toews had a history of gambling, drinking problems, and was in financial trouble. So part of this move, or alleged move, to Arizona was to help pay off some of those debts. But thankfully, Mayor Wilson Goode and the city came through and were able to save the Eagles. But had this story not leaked, there is a very, very good chance the Eagles would have moved to Arizona. And it just seems odd, the way we're feeling today after this Eagles game, that not that long ago, the Eagles were almost out of here. All right, 2010, Ruben Amaro Jr. rights a wrong as he re-signed Cliff Lee to a 5-year deal, setting up the Four Aces staff for the Phillies. Unfortunately, they would go on to have the best regular season in team history, but get bounced in the divisional round against the Cardinals. And then, not far from where we were this year, on this day last year, there was a lot of scrutiny of the passing game, a lot of scrutiny going around about Jalen Hurts leading up to this game. Eagles took on the Steelers at the link. Jalen, all he did was throw for 290 yards, 2 touchdowns, ran one in. Devontae and AJ both went over 100 yards. Each scored a touchdown as the Eagles beat the Steelers 27-13. And then Jalen infamously said at the beginning of his press conference, "Is that what y'all wanted to see?" Much like he did yesterday, silencing the doubters. So hopefully we can put to bed this. And it seems that the more things change sometimes, the more they change the same. Stay the same. This was just last year that people were questioning the quarterback, questioning the passing game. They come out, Jalen silences the doubters, just like he did yesterday. So I will take a repeat of last year as an Eagles fan. On this day in 2010, Ruben Amaro rights a wrong and re-signs Cliff Lee to a 5-year deal. 1984, after almost moving to Arizona, it was announced the Eagles were staying in Philadelphia as the city and Leonard Toast worked out a deal. 1973, Temple in Tennessee, lowest scoring college basketball game ever, 11-5. Yeah, you heard that right, 11-5 in a college basketball game. And then, of course, the big story, 1968, we threw snowballs at Santa. Get over it, people. Get over it. All right, don't forget the trivia question. Who did the Eagles take number 3 in the 1969 draft? And who did they pass over at number 4, who will go on to be a Hall of Famer? Good game for the Birds. We have a short week, so Kyle and I will be recording on Wednesday. So Wednesday night, the new Brotherly Birds breakdown will drop. I'll look at more of the stuff about this Eagles game today. Have more on this as the Eagles are looking to finish out the season strong. You got Washington, Buffalo, Washington. We'll see what happens. Buffalo will be fighting for that division, it looks like, after an amazing comeback yesterday. You have the Packers losing, Cowboys losing. All of it bodes well for the Eagles. So we'll see how the rest of these last 3 games shakes out, see where the Eagles are going to go. But my vote is they're going to build on this momentum and win at least 2 of the next 3 to finish out the season. If not, all 3. Would love to go on a 4-game winning streak heading into the playoffs. Be sure to let me know your GOAT of the game on the Back to the Future voice and text line 267-495-8531. Get anything off your chest. Tell me I'm crazy for doing the Lucy with the football thing with the Sixers again, but I like the direction this team is going. I like it. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for December 15th, 2025. My name is Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a victory Monday, and until next time, go Birds.